up, Kryptonians, and welcome to the final video of 2018. That's right, it is time to trot out my Legion of Doom for the year, my top 10 least favorite or most hated movies that I saw this year. I want to thank everybody for tuning into my final video of the year. It really means a lot to me. I'd also like to thank anybody who tuned into my other top 10 video. And that one was my top 10 favorite movies of 2018, my Justice League of the year. You can check that out. It's on my channel right now. Today is the day that we talk about the stinkers, you know, the fart boxes, the shit stains. This is the one where we talk about the movies that made the entire reviewing movies on YouTube thing feel like work. And then some of you might look at this list and go, hey, where's that movie on here? And I'm just like, do I not deserve better? Like, seriously, do you think I want to go out and subject myself to that? Like, some people are gonna be like, hey, you should have had Holmes and Watson on this shit. I'm like, why? Why would I put myself through that? What's the point? And if the point is to torture myself on camera for your amusement, then I feel like this goes back to my point from months ago, which is that most of you people are sadists who just like negativity and pain and anger being displayed in an oddly corny and funny way on camera. No, this is a list where I come up with my list. It's my own personal list. It's a very subjective thing. You are welcome to put your list in the comment section below. Also, I do have some dishonorable mentions. These are films that are really bad or really boring or really disappointing that almost made the list but didn't quite make the cut. Hunter Killer, A Wrinkle in Time, Unfriended, The Dark Web, The Possession of Hannah Grace, and The Darkest Mind. Just like the Justice League, each part of this list corresponds to a member of the Legion of Doom. And if you don't know who the Legion of Doom is, I mean, it's comics. Google it, man. I don't have time to get into it. Without further ado, it's time to spend the next few minutes hating myself by talking about my least favorite films of 2018. My Giganta of 2018 is probably low-key the most horrifically boring movie that I saw this year. And that movie is the 1517 to Paris, directed by Clint Eastwood, who I normally actually like. I think he's made a lot of really great movies. I know that Clint Eastwood is an old-ass dude, but this is one of those movies where I actually got done watching it, and I was just like looking at Clint Eastwood like, okay, dude, I know you're old, but do your eyes still work? Did no one in the world even try to attempt to convince you that this was not going to work, that this was a bad idea from production on? I get and respect what Clint Eastwood was trying to do here by actually casting the real life people who were involved in this real life event. I salute and praise those dudes in real life. They're heroes. They're really honorable people. But in this movie, they're shitty actors. I'm sorry, there's no other way to say it. It's not necessarily their fault why they're shitty actors. It's Clint Eastwood's fault because he should know better. Shitty acting, shitty writing, shitty pacing. Good lord. So many different moments in this movie where I'm just sitting there like, why are we on vacation right now? Like, why are we focusing on them eating ice cream? A missed opportunity for somebody to look at Clint Eastwood and squint their eyes and go, be careful what you wish for, punk. Number 9 on my list, we have probably the most generic, or at least one of the most generic horror movies that I saw this year, and that was Winchester. One of those movies that come out in January that you kind of expect it to be shit, but then you watch it and you're kind of like, okay, it's shit, but there's a good movie buried somewhere in here. And when I say buried, I mean like it's deeply buried, like it's in the recesses of the earth type of buried, like underneath the earth's crust, maybe somewhere close to the equator, hell, maybe even in hell. That's where the good part of this movie exists. It's just somewhere buried underneath that, but up top and on the surface, there's just a whole bunch of layers of shit. This is a movie that relies once again on boring-ass, fake-ass jump scares where people are just walking down creepy hallways just to be scared by something that's not really there. Even the actors that are involved in this movie feel like they're mailing it in. Jason Clarke, I usually like him. In this movie, he is literally collecting a paycheck, which is good. He should get paid, but you know, he shouldn't act like he's just getting paid. He should act like he actually wants to be there. Interesting premise that is ruined by really shitty, really stupid execution. You could probably say that about a lot of the movies on this list, but it just so happens I'm saying this about Winchester at number 9. My Black Manta for 2018 is actually probably the closest thing to like a guilty pleasure on this list. And it's a bad movie that's so bad that you can kind of sit around with your friends and you can roast the movie and you can have a lot of fun that way. Fortunately, this is not one of those cases where I get to ignore the shitty parts of the movie just because it'd be fun to roast it with your friends. Truth or Dare it's just awful, man. Truth or Dare is so hilariously over the top and so nonsensical. Like literally you have to stop yourself every 5 minutes just to be like, oh, this doesn't make that much sense, and oh wow, this acting really isn't that good. And holy shit, the writing for this scene, like, what were they thinking? You have the goofy-ass Joker smiles, you have a whole bunch of character melodrama that doesn't really add anything to the movie. In fact, it makes the movie a lot more boring. You end the movie going, holy shit, I just watched a movie about two of the shittiest people to exist in life. Like, why am I here with these people? Why did they survive? Why did this movie happen? Realize that they can just slap Blumhouse on a horror movie and people will go check it out. So that's why the movie happened. But still, it's just, I wasted my time. Kind of weird that the number 7 member in my Legion of Doom is Brainiac, because Brainiac's a really smart guy, like he's a genius level intellect kind of dude. Unfortunately, he is stuck with probably the dumbest action movie of 2018, and I am talking about Mile 22. One of those things where a movie comes out of my birthday month, and I'm ashamed that my birthday month is associated with such filth. God, the characters in this movie are so infuriating, so dumb. The writing is, oh god, it's just, ugh. I could forgive the shitty characters, I could forgive the shitty plotting, I could forgive the stupid-ass twist at the end of the movie that tries desperately to set it up for a sequel. It's like the most obvious sequel-based shit ever. I could forgive all of that if the action sequences were at least competent. They were competent. You know, they were competently shot by a schizophrenic monkey. I mean, that has to be how they filmed this movie. And you decide to take the style from Taken 2 and Taken 3 and the Resident Evil movie Raw that came out last year, and you combine all of those into a migraine-inducing, poorly edited, poorly shot mess of an action movie. Mile 22 was just absolute shit. 6 on my list is a film that I actually saw kind of late in the year. I didn't see it when it first came out, but then once I saw it, I was like, yep, you're going on the list. The Strangers Pray at Night is one of those sequels that just takes everything that maybe you kind of sort of appreciated about the first one, and then it just says, nah, forget that. We just gonna do our own thing for the sequel. Literally, the entire movie should have been done after like 20 minutes, but because people in this movie were written to be intentionally stupid, kids even are so dumb that they leave and they go places and they just leave their cell phone, because it's like, nah, plot doesn't call for us to have our cell phone on us. There's dumbass moments like that throughout the entire film. Holy shit, when you have an entire movie that's built on illogic, and then you try to play to like the 80s nostalgia crowd by having weird ass music just playing at random moments. Dumbass everything. This movie's just dumb. It's just stupid, okay? And I'm leaving it in 2018. Let's move on. Alright, now that we've entered the top 5, my Sinestro of 2018 has to be a Tyler Perry movie. Because, of course, it has to be a Tyler Perry movie. But nobody's fool? No, everybody's fool for going to see that movie, especially me. More of the same cliched romantic garbage that Tyler Perry has been putting out for years. All of the characters are terrible. Tiffany Haddish, what are you doing? Oh my god, this is nice! I can't wait to fuck the next 8 people I see in this movie! Watching this shit, I'm like, Tiffany, you're better than this, aren't you? I mean, are you? At this point, it's actually kind of hard to see if Tiffany Haddish is actually better than the material she was given in this movie, but she ain't the only victim. Everybody in this movie gets a piece. Especially the main character, who is like the weakest, most selfish, wishy-washy, flip-floppy, sandal-looking woman that I have seen in any movie in 2018. You had the cliche, romantic, predictable shit on top of the terrible-ass characters in this movie, and you're just like, Tyler, why? Why are you not demonstrating that you're better than this? It's frustrating because I see the talent with Tyler Perry, but not in this one. Appropriate that The Cheetah of 2018 is a movie that cheated my heart, because I did not want this movie to be on my list, but unfortunately, after thinking about it, it only makes sense that it's top 5, and that is The Predator. Predator might actually be the most disappointing movie of the year for me. It takes everything that you love about the Predator lore and the previous Predator worlds building and the previous movies, and it just kind of shits all over that just because, yeah, jokes. It's a Predator movie that has absolutely no suspense. It has people laughing and joking throughout the entire thing. There are so many bad, weird edits. It feels like half the movie's missing. You realize the whole movie is just like that. It's a bunch of awkward jokes, awkward humor, awkward characters that don't fit what story the movie's trying to tell. They take the Predator and they reduce it from being an intelligent, cunning assassin of the highest order to just being another generic CGI monster. You have that shit happen, you have to have this movie somewhere on the list, and for me, it's number 4. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this movie because this movie infuriated me more than almost any movie on this list except maybe my number 1. It was one of those comedies that's trying to be edgy, where it's trying to be like, hey, look at how rude everybody is. That's a funny thing, right? Comedy in this movie is so shit, the characters are so shit that it just irritated me beyond relief throughout the runtime. I didn't think it was funny, I thought it was irritating. A bunch of people just being dicks because the script demands that we have them be dicks. It's not funny to me. Let's just move on, because I wish I could light this entire movie on fire, and I can't, but I wish I could, and it deserves it. But either way, Gringo, yeah, just middle finger to you. I don't know what else can be said about 50 Shades that we haven't already said. I mean, we have shitted on these movies for years. A lot of people don't like these movies. You guys know how I feel about these movies. The saving grace I can say with this movie is that holy shit, it's done. It's over. We're free. We can move on. No more 50 Shades. It's finally done. Hallelujah! Same shitty stuff that you've seen for the other two movies. The same shitty ass romance. The same nonsensical plot. They actually tried to turn this movie a little bit into an action thriller towards the end. God, I don't actually even ask you for that much. Like, you provide a lot and whatever. Yeah, sure. Please let this be the end. Let this be, let it be over. Like, please, just save us, deliver us! And I'm fairly certain that you guys already know what my number one is. My number one film, my Lex Luthor of 2018. Gotti. Fucking Gotti. Gotti. What the hell was this movie? What happened? How do you have a movie that fails at literally everything? Even in a shitty movie, you can usually find things that make sense or things that you find redeemable. Hell, even 50 Shades gave us Dakota nipples. What the hell does this movie give us? It gives us nothing. Everything fails about this movie. Everything. The editing, the directing, the costumes and outfits, the dialogue, the characters, the writing, the pacing, the way the movie ends, the way the movie begins, the middle of the movie, everything. Even the music was shit in this movie. There's a scene where somebody has a fake tear. There's a scene where there's fake fireworks. Literally 2 hours of John Travolta speaking with one of the worst New York accents that you've heard in your life. Weird ass time jumps that make absolutely no sense, which again goes to the shitty editing in the movie. In fact, I'm done talking about this movie. I'm going to vent my frustration with Gotti by doing therapeutic yells and screams, because it's good to let it all out, and that's what this list is for. Is to let out the negative energy I have about these movies. Those are my peaceful and tranquil thoughts on Gotti, and those are the films in my list. Tell me, guys, what did you think about the list? What are your least favorite movies of the year? Put that down below. Before I get going, I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning into the show this year. Had a great year, and we're going to keep getting bigger. Next year, I'm shooting for 1,000 subs. I want to thank everybody who has subbed or has tuned into my videos. I really appreciate the love. I have a lot of really huge things that I'm working on for next year, so stay tuned for that, and I'll let you know and update you as it comes. So, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Happy New Year!